In this video, I'm going to explain or give my answer to the question, what is the best investment strategy? And my answer is that this is a trick question, okay? There is no one investment strategy that is the best for any individual or any group because the best investment strategy depends on a number of factors that I'm going to explain to you in this video. Now, after watching this video, where I'm going to explain the different factors and explain some of the key investment strategies that are on the menu for almost everyone, I'm going to make other videos that will break down my thoughts on what are some great investment strategies for you if you're at different levels of the factors that I'm going to talk about right now. So why is it a trick question? Because obviously, like most things that are a little more complicated, there is no one size fits all, right? It wouldn't make any sense if somebody said, well, what's the best car to have? Because the best car depends on the person and depends on a lot of different factors that matter to each individual person. So when you're picking an investment strategy for yourself, here are my 6 factors that I think are the key factors that drive which of the different possible investment strategy options might be best applicable to you. Number 1 is your level of knowledge. Are you very knowledgeable about finances and investments? Have you read a lot, or do you know a lot about these things, or are you relatively a newbie? This makes a big difference for a lot of reasons that we're going to touch on. Number 2, what are your income and what is your level of skills that allow you to generate that income? So for example, if your income is, 20, 30,000 a year and you're just starting out in your career, that's obviously a very different situation than if you're making 100,000 a year or 500,000 a year. And obviously, if you're fortunate enough, like some people are, to be making a million plus a year, okay, your needs and the options that are available to you are going to be different. So obviously, our second factor is, what is your current level of income and what are your skills and what do you expect your average level of income to be over your career? The number 3 factor that is very important to consider before selecting an investment strategy is your current level of savings and your general ability to save. So what percentage of your income are you able to save? This absolutely has to be considered. I've said in other videos that people shouldn't even be thinking about investing until they have saved some sort of emergency pool. I personally like to see 3 to 6 months of a fallback fund before people start investing. And the reason for this is that obviously, no matter what kind of investments you make and no matter how knowledgeable you are, investing does involve certain risks. So before you start jumping into the deep end of the pool and start taking risks, what I like to see is people who have secured their basic living expenses for 3 to 6 months so that, hey, God forbid, if you lose your job, okay, you're not stressing about how you're going to pay for food on the table the next day, or how are you going to pay your rent next month. So having an emergency cushion is absolutely critical before you start thinking about trying to make money with money, which is what investing is. This is my number 4 factor before you go and select a investment strategy, is what is your time horizon, okay? And a lot of things factor into your time horizon: your age, how long you've been working, how long before you plan to retire, what other expenses you have coming up that you're going to need money for. So all of these things factor into the time horizon that is available to you before you can start making investments. My number 5 factor is your goals. Right now, let's just say hypothetically that you're someone who has very modest needs as far as your expenses, and you have managed to save through many years of effort X amount of money. Let's just say for argument's sake that amount of money is $100,000, but your expenses are only $1,000 a year. If that were a realistic example, that's only 1%. Okay, so then based on your goals, you may not, if your goal is only to make $1,000 a year to live on, you can potentially, your investment strategy could be very different than someone who needs to earn a lot more money relative to the money that they have. Okay, so that's my number 5 factor, which is your goals. And number 6 is your personality. A lot of times people don't really take this into consideration. How emotional are you versus how logical are you? How patient are you? All of these factors have to be taken into consideration. So just to reiterate, how knowledgeable are you? What's your income and your skills to generate income? That's number 2. Number 3, your savings. Number 4, your time horizon. Number 5, your goals. And number 6, your personality. Now, when you take all of these factors into consideration, which is what I try to do as an investment advisor, as a financial expert, when clients come to me, it's only at that point that you can go specifically into, hey, here's the menu of options that you could potentially take advantage of to achieve your goals over that time horizon, given your personality, given your income and your savings plan, and given your level of knowledge. That is the right way to approach it. And obviously, it of course matters that you have an emergency fund and you've set aside money that isn't at risk to just tide you over in case some things go wrong, either in your life, in your job, or what have you. In other videos, I've already talked about how you can save more to build up that emergency cushion. So check out that video. Since this is about what's the best investment strategy, I want to leave you with the major categories of investment strategies, which is number 1, owning businesses. So investing in the stock market is just a subcategory of this one, which is owning businesses. So one big category of investment strategies is figure out a business or businesses to become an owner of. And number 2 is real estate. So that's owning real estate. Now, not coincidentally, for the average person in the world, particularly in the United States, something like 60% of people end up owning at least the home that they live in. And for many of those people, that home ends up being their single best investment. And there's a lot of reasons for this. Because real estate is accessible, because most people understand it, because most people tend to buy real estate to live in for a long time, and because they tend to understand the areas and not sort of ridiculously overpay. For all those reasons, for many people, real estate ends up being their best single investment. But that is not as much a factor of the real estate itself as much as it is a part of these sort of accidental characteristics of real estate that make it work for a lot of people. Oh, and by the way, the fact that you can borrow, usually 70, 80% of the price of the real estate from a bank and then pay it off over time. So for all those reasons, real estate ends up being a decent investment for people. But the other category, which is owning businesses, that is the category that probably is the one that creates, along with real estate, the greatest amount of wealth for investors and owners of those assets if you do it correctly. So watch some of my other videos because I'm going to explain in a lot of detail how one can go about analyzing those 6 factors and then picking investments that might fit your particular situation. So hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like and subscribe, and look forward to sharing more great content with you guys.